Hades and Hades 2 both explore the spaces of ancient Greece's mythological underworlds. In the original, Zagreus flees the House of Hades, fights through Tartarus, Asphodel, Elysium, and the Temple of Styx, all based on stories from a particular place filtered through thousands of years of history and the game design choices of a 2018 roguelike. Hades 2 brings half a dozen new spaces, which I won't spoil just yet if you're holding off until the game is out of early access. I am going to talk about them, but I'll give you a warning before we get to that section of the video. Because there's something more important to discuss first. Before Hades, there was another supergiant underworld escape attempt. 2018's Pyre follows a group known as the Nightwings who, like Zagreus, are trapped in a strange but beautiful purgatory, this time known as the Downside. And like Zagreus, they're absolutely determined to make it back up top. But unlike the spaces of the Hades games, the Downside is not an infinite labyrinth of rooms. The Downside is a world. Escaping it is a journey that takes the Nightwings through a variety of jewel-toned, hazily lit environments, each with their own moods. It necessitates the wagon, a home base that feels simultaneously comforting and crowded, and it gives all the characters a sense of grounding, a place that they belong to that lends them their own narrative weight. The characters of Hades and now Hades 2 are, let's say, beloved, albeit in a very specific way, but their depth as characters is proportional to how placed they are in the narrative. The gods of Olympus, who show up only briefly to offer a line of dialogue and a helpful boon for Zagreus' current escape attempt, have no roots. They're slightly different flavoured vending machines, but no one's being drawn in by the emotional storytelling of Poseidon's surfer attitude versus Zeus's King of the Gods routine. The chthonic gods, stuck in the House of Hades, can get a little more depth from always being around when Zagreus comes home, but they also benefit from their interaction with the space around them. Hypnos dozing by the pool of Styx automatically says something different about him than seeing Hades in his great throne, even if you knew nothing about their mythological selves. But it's those characters who appear in multiple places that really begin to shine. Yes, Thanatos can be found in the house, but it's the fact that he'll show up outside to help you that makes him fascinating. And vice versa for Mel, who will try to kill you on the runs only to be friendly back home. And then there are the characters who are, for a long time, much more trapped than Zagreus. Take Achilles, unable to visit Patroclus in Elysium until Zagreus helps him out late in the game. When you first run into them together, it's a moment of victory in a game that's otherwise mostly about failure. On the other hand, Patroclus' glade has no intention that he's tried to make it a home, giving the impression that he's been drifting without Achilles. It's easy to compare this to how the carefully kept spaces of Eurydice and Persephone tell the stories of two women trying to make the best of a place that they don't really want to be. Knickknacks built up over the years, a focus on cooking and farming as a personal hobby. Each of these spaces tell us something about its inhabitants, and they bring solidity to the otherwise nebulous world of Hades. But they're few and far between in actual runs where the rooms might shift constantly, but almost all remain battle arenas and little else. In Pyre, every new screen is a place with a history, and they lend the same weight to the people who appear there. For example, the vagabond attaches herself to your wagon in the desert. She's obsessed with the scribes, Pyre's religious figures, and her desert wanderings are reminiscent of medieval saints' tales, plus they explain her scattered, dreamlike approach to life. Not long after she joins the Nightwings, she insists on defending the group from attack, presumably familiar with protecting herself in the harsh desert environment. Immediately following that, the dry imp Tiso appears, who seems mysteriously connected to the wagon as well as to the rites themselves, hinting at yet more links between place, history, and character. After picking up the vagabond and Tiso, you head for a place known as the Cairn of Haub. There, a giant skeleton emerges from the ground, and before you can react, the best song in the game starts playing. These are the Dissidents, a pack of dog-like curs who are fast, ruthless scavengers. And when your friend Ruki admits later that he's in debt to them, it makes all the more sense because we already know who these people are. They live under the ribcage of something long dead. All of these examples come one after the other. The Downside never pauses and has no filler. Every environment has something to say and someone to say it. The good news is that Hades 2 actually seems to be moving back in this direction. This script was originally an article published in Unwinnable magazine, just after the beginning of Hades 2's early access, and I basically concluded that it was the same as Hades 1 in that it couldn't easily replicate Pyre's use of space because of the necessities of its roguelike combat-heavy style. But, and this is where we start getting into Hades 2 spoilers, including things added in October's major Olympus update, the sequel has a much stronger sense of place, particularly relating to its characters. More of them only appear in specific locations, not least because there are so many more locations in the first place. Echo and Narcissus, separated but close in Oceanus and the Morning Fields, both fit their spaces. Narcissus staring into the water forever, and Echo clearly mourning. Ariadne, trapped in Erebus, can now start appearing in the Crossroads, building a community for herself despite the curse of the gods. And the gods themselves still appear haphazardly, but more recently there's been some changes to that. Athena and Dionysus, who weren't in the initial early access release, both appear only in Olympus itself. Athena, in her position as a war tactician, protects the mountain, and Yu, appearing as an assist character rather than a static one. It fits not only with her mythology, but with her offered boons, which in both games are defensive. And it directly contrasts with Dionysus, who is Olympus's static encounter, because he's too laid back to really get involved in the whole Kronos situation. All of these are more interesting ways to make use of space for characterization in Hades 2, and I'm glad to see a step forward in that area for the sequel. But it still can't outclass Pyre. Pyre is another game about resourcefulness, determination, and teamwork that clearly shows an early take on so much of what ended up making Hades so beloved, but it's more than just a primordial soup for a more popular follow-up. There are things that it just does better.